crown of life which the Lord has promised to those who love him. All right. So what am I saying there? What that speaks of there, that speaks of integrity. And as we as men get ourselves to the place where we start to have conversations man to man, where we begin to build together as men and we begin to rebuild our communities, as we begin to rebuild our families, as we begin to rebuild, the question that comes is, as it relates to our integrity, as it relates to us, is, do you have integrity? That is so very key as we're going to build, as we're going to grow together as men. I don't say I don't want to, but I'll say this: it is oftentimes harder for me to work with. It's not impossible. It's not it's just a little bit more difficult for me to work with and to build with someone who I know who is their integrity is trash, if I could say it that way. When it comes to working with someone and building with someone and growing with someone, I prefer to grow with somebody who has integrity. When they say they're going to do something, they do it. When they say they're going to be a certain place, they're there. When they say they're going to help you, they help you. Some of the strongest relationships that I have had in my life with men, and let me just make it clear that I have not always been able to, have the best of relationships with men, right? But some of the best, the longest lasting, strongest friendships and relationships are with those men who I have found to have strong integrity, right? When you call on them, they tell you if they can be there, they tell you they'll be there. If they can't be there, they'll tell you, man, I'm sorry, I really wish I could. I've been there for you in the past, but I just can't do it this time. That I remember. I'm going to share this. I remember there was a situation where I had just I was driving the church van, right, and I had about three or four other folks on it with me, young folks, and we had an accident in the church van, right, and we ended up going off the road and into a bayou or a ditch or whatever it was, where the water was waist deep. All right, that means if it was waist deep on me, I know it was, pretty high on those children who were a little bit shorter than I was, right? I say children. They were over 18, I think, all at the time. If not, they were close to 18. And then one I know for sure was well over 18. But anyhow, so I'd had that accident in the church van. I was about 24 years old. So this has been over 10 years ago, right? I'm a much better, safer driver, even though the brakes on the church van were bad and it had been raining. I'm not making any excuses. I'm just painting a picture and a scenario. So we go off the road and the ambulance comes and it takes all of the children, the younger people, because all of them were younger than me, right? So it takes them on into the hospital. But the state trooper who was out there told me I had to stay with the vehicle. I couldn't leave. I couldn't go nowhere. He told me I had to stay. And I remember just sitting out there, and my parents had come and they were checking on me, this, that, and the other, and whatever else had happened. And I remember for whichever reason, my mom, I told her to go and check on the other kids, the other young folks. I keep calling them kids. They weren't really kids, but that's just how I refer to them because at one point they were a part of my youth group. Right, they were a little bit older at this point, but at one point they were in my youth group. Right, so anyhow, they we I told my mom to go to the hospital and check on them. I'd be fine. I would get a ride to the hospital. I'd be okay, right? So I'm standing out there and I'm thanking God that I'm still alive. I'm thanking God that I have no broken bones. I'm thanking God that the children are all good, even though, there's some injuries, but God, they're good. And I thank you for it. And I remember all of a sudden I see these headlights, right? They come like they coming fast up the road, and then the tires kind of screech as they come to a halt right behind the state trooper's car. And he gets out. It's my friend, my brother, from the church, right? He's one that when I've called him, he's always been there. My mom had told him, "Oh yeah, James is still out there. You know, he's at the scene. You know," and the state trooper necessarily didn't really want him to leave, so he's staying out there. He walked right up to the state trooper. He told the state trooper what it was going to be, and he told me get in the truck, and we drove off in a huff and a hurry. And I thank God for brothers like that, right? That when I didn't have enough wherewithal to go get myself checked out, he said, "No, you were in this accident too. You need to be checked out. I know you were the driver. They want to hold you responsible, but if they got any questions, they know how to find you at the hospital." And he came and got me. See, that is integrity. And as men and as brothers, that's something that we have to be able to do for one another. When one brother's judgment is a little bit off, we've got to have somebody who's got some strength, who's got some integrity, some character, who's going to say, "No, you know what, let me help you through this, because you're not really thinking clearly right now. You're not fully, let me walk with you through this." Because as a brother, that is what we ought to do for one another. And I want to encourage, I know I'm talking to some women out there too, but maybe there's a single mom out there who's raising a son, and you say, "I don't know what to do because I've never been a man and I don't know how to raise a son." Well, let me tell you that one of the things that you need to challenge your son in. One of the things that you need to challenge your little boy in. I know he may be young, but when he say he gonna do it, then make sure he does it. When he says that he's gonna be a certain place, make sure he's there. I know sometimes it's gonna be an inconvenience on you, but if you gave your word for him, or if he gave his own word and said, "I'm gonna do it," make sure he sees that commitment through, because what are you doing? You're building integrity within him. The more you let him not do stuff, the more you let him fall by the wayside, the more you let him quit, the weaker his integrity gets. But integrity starts in the smallest of things. Integrity begins in the littlest of things. And so you may have a lady who, or a woman who is raising a son all by yourself, and the dad may come in and out of the picture, and you trying to figure out what's the best way to raise him. I'm telling you, it starts with the little things. If he say he gonna clean his room, make sure he cleans his room. If he say he's gonna do it, make sure he does it. Because integrity, we've got to start building up integrity in the young generation, because as it gets in them, the Bible says, "Train up a child in the way that they should go, and when they are old, they won't depart from it." I want to encourage you on today. I don't know exactly what your situation may be, brothers. I don't know what you may be going through in your life, brothers, but I want to encourage you. The one thing that I know for sure is that you've got to get your integrity in check. You've got to get your integrity in order. The more you get your integrity in check, the more you get your integrity in order, the more that other folks, the more that men and people will know, all right, this is a man who can be trusted. This is a man who we know, if he said he'll do it, he's gonna do it. This is a man who we know we can trust. And many of you brothers, many of you men have wondered, why is it that they never call on me to do stuff? Why is it they never ask me to do anything? Why is it that I never get to be a part of this or that, or I never have a part in? Listen, part of the problem maybe. I'm just saying. I'm trying to help somebody. Part of your problem maybe, brother, that the reason why they don't call on you to do anything, the reason why they don't call on you to be a part of stuff is because they know they can't trust you. They know that every time that they've called on you, that you flaked out, that you've backed out, you had some excuse, something come up, right? And I'm not trying to shame nobody, because if I'm being honest, that was me at one point. People would call me to do stuff. I'd be like, oh yeah, 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 I'll be there, man. I got you. Oh yeah, I'm gonna show up. I had to change that about myself. I had to change. I had to change, right? I wanted to be the type of man that when I have sons, they'd be proud to say, yeah, that's my dad. I wanted to be the kind of man that my little guy, my buddy, right? Timothy, he's not, he's about what, I think 7 years old now, maybe about to be 8, right? I wanted to be the type of man that Timothy would want to be like one day, right? I wanted to be the type of man that my godson Grayson could look up to and say, "Yeah, I like G-Pa. I want to be like G-Pa, right?" But I want to encourage you, right? You've got to, men. We've got to work on our integrity. And maybe, like I said, maybe you haven't had the strongest integrity yet. It can all turn around. It can all change. But it starts with the little things. Even as I talk to the single ladies about their sons, I want to encourage you, brothers, it starts with the little things. You say, what do you mean it starts with the little things? Let me tell you, it starts with just quite simply, right? It starts as simple as let me just, give you this example. Somebody calls you from the church, or somebody calls you and they say, well, we getting ready to do this and we sure could use some men out there. Integrity starts just as simply as you saying, okay, put me there, I'll be there. And you show up. Integrity starts just simply as telling your wife, babe, don't worry about the dishes tonight. I'm gonna take care of it. And you actually do it. Like you tell her, don't worry about the kitchen tonight, and you actually clean it up. Not halfway clean it up. You for real deal clean it up. You start building integrity that way, right? By setting small tasks for yourselves, right? By setting small things. And what I love about it is, if you've got any sons, the more they see your integrity increase, the more it increases them, or challenges them rather, to increase and to step up their integrity. Because as the father goes, so goes the son. As the father is, so becomes the son. So if your integrity is I have no other way of saying it but trash, right? If your integrity is challenged, that's the better way to say it. And it's not, that people know they can't count on you, they can't trust you. It's not too late to turn it around. You can still turn it around. You can fix it. You can make it better. But first, you've got to begin to change and challenge your own self and say, you know what? I said I would do this. I said I would be there. I said I would do this. Now let me follow through. Follow through. That is how you build integrity. If I had to sum it up in just a short 2 words, follow through. God's heart for men is that we be. Here's a word I made up some years ago. I have a series that I did. It's a 21 days of encouragement series, right? Um, and I did this one several years ago. It was the integrity series, right? And my word was integrous. You've got to be integrous, right? So I want to challenge you, and I've got to encourage you. Build up your character, build up your integrity, and you do that by following through on the littlest of commitments to the biggest of commitments, to the largest of things to the smallest of things. You've got to build up your integrity. All right? And it starts just by following through. That's my word for you this week. That's my challenge for you this week, as we follow God's heart, as we go after God's heart. The thing that set David apart from other men, to where God said, this is a man after my own heart, is that David followed through. I'm challenging you, brothers. I'm challenging you. I'm challenging you, young man, right? I'm challenging you. Every man under the sound of my voice, young or old, follow through. Those who may have just stumbled upon this broadcast, stumbled upon this show on today, stumbled upon man to man on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, wherever. Let me encourage you and challenge you to follow through. All right? All right. Well, again, today, I've dubbed today as Listener Appreciation Day. I want to send a big shout out to the listener that we have way out in Houston, Texas. That's right. We've got somebody tuned in all the way out in Houston, Texas on today. Definitely want to say thank you. We appreciate you right now. We have about 12 folks who are listening. We've got somebody who's listening way out by Westlake. All right, so definitely want to thank that. No, I said they're by Westlake. Yeah, they're headed out that way toward Westlake. So thank you so much for tuning in the 93.5 KPPM. Definitely want to continue to say thank you to all of you who are tuned in here on to 93.5 KPPM. We've still got those who are listening up in we had somebody earlier who was listening in Chicago when I first started our man-to-man segment. So I just want to say thank you to everybody who is listening, everybody who's tuned in, and who is a part of this broadcast. We appreciate you. Now, again, those are our mobile listeners, those who are listening via an app or a website or something of that nature. But I also know that there are those of you who are listening in your homes via your radio. There are those of you who are listening in your cars, right, via your, again, radio. I want to say thank you to each and every one of you. I get so many of you when you see me, when you meet me out and about, who say, hey, I listen to y'all all the time. My radio stays tuned in to 93.5 KPPM, and I hear you on there. And you don't look like I thought you would look. I thought you'd be a short fella. I cannot tell y'all how many times I've heard that whomever was listening thought that I was a short person. No, I'm kind of tall, 6'9", right? Yeah. Well, I just want to say thank you again to each and every one of you for tuning in to I Am Encouraged Radio. But more importantly, thank you for tuning in to 93.5 KPPM. All right, we are your community minded station where we are for the community and by the community. All right. So thank you all so much for listening. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I greatly appreciate you. The show is not over. We've still got all the news you absolutely can use coming your way, and so much more. But I just had to take a moment because I said today was Listener Appreciation Day. That's what I decided to dub today as. I wanted to just take a moment to say thank you, thank you, thank you. We appreciate you. I appreciate you, and we love you. All right. Now, before I do this, or before I go into all the news you absolutely can use, let's take a quick commercial break. Then, right after this commercial break, we'll be right back with more great gospel music and all the news that you absolutely can use right here on 93.5 KPPM, King Power Praise Music and Shabbat Radio.
Here's Dr. George Koch